All right, Dr. Siri, thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk about a topic that is big in news right now. We've actually talked about it a couple times with it up and coming, but now it's official, and we thought it would be a good time to hop on and just learn as much as we can about. I like to call it the peanut capsule or the peanut pill because I feel like that's what a mom would call it, but you have a much more professional uh, way to talk about this new up and coming OIT treatment for peanut allergy. And so we have just some general questions for you today to learn more about it. I know a lot of parents are wondering what this means. And so, yeah, first of all, let's start by defining it. What is the peanut pill?
Well, good morning, and I'm really grateful you invited me to chat about it. We have pretty extensive knowledge of this peanut pill, as you call it, and you know what? Whatever people want to call it, it does have an official name. The name is Palforzia, Palforzia. It is produced by a drug company called Immune, which rose out of a lot of different organizations, including FAIR, COFAR, things like that, trying to come together to create a therapy because they felt that there was a great need. So that company was formed, I think, really from a lot of different sources, stating that there was a need. So after years of clinical research and many, many studies, now they have upcoming approval. And of course, it's been approved. And now it probably is going to be hitting the market in March. So this, also known as the peanut pill or the peanut capsule, is a peanut, and it's made of peanut flour. The peanut flour, what's the difference between the peanut flour that you buy off the shelf and the peanut flour that's in these in this product? Well, it goes through a rigorous FDA approval process, which means just like any of the medications that you would take at home, whether it's your Montelukast or your asthma medications or anything like that, it has to go through inspection in terms of where the source is from, the production, the consistency, all those things. So you know how we go to the store and sometimes, we get a cookie that basically may have a little chunk of something that didn't belong in it. Well, that's usually not allowed in things like that are manufactured by the FDA that are medications. So it goes through strict good manufacturing practices. And so you know that every time you get a peanut pill or capsule or whatever you want to call it, that the product's going to be consistent. And they do check it batch to batch to make sure that the proteins that we're interested in, things like ARH1, ARH2, ARH6, are consistent.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was approved not too long ago, and what this is an immunotherapy product that has been approved along with a protocol to prove it works. So anytime a medication it goes through the FDA, they have to do clinical trials to show that there is efficacy. So you're not buying snake water. And so the clinical trials have shown and demonstrated that the peanut therapy does improve the threshold to reactivity. So that means that at the beginning of the clinical trial, kids who were allergic to peanut and proven to be allergic who entered the trial, through this process, at the end of the trial, there was a good proportion of them compared to placebo that were able to tolerate on open food challenges or on blinded food challenges, both, that they were able to tolerate a significant amount of peanut, more than kids who were on placebo. And we all know this because everybody knows at this point that OIT works. And so I don't think it was surprising news. I think, a lot of your listeners also know that OIT definitely works. And so really it's a FDA regimented process that will be available in the hands of certain board certified allergists. So the company doesn't want it to go nilly-willy and, they don't want, Joe Schmo on the corner to be able to prescribe this medication. Mm-hmm. They want people to make sure that that there's a certification process, that the office is prepared to handle potential reactions. There's something going along with it called the risk evaluation mitigation strategy, which means that offices are counseling patients on the fact that this is a therapy that can cause anaphylaxis because obviously kids are allergic to peanut. And so, to make sure that people are having their patients carry EpiPens, that there's still a food avoidance plan, all those kind of things. So all those things are going to be in place. And so initially at rollout, I think there are going to be some allergy offices that have signed up, did the training, etc., have been certified, and will be able to prescribe the product at the get-go. And then I think other allergists and things like that will kind of roll along into the process later on. So how does it work? There's initial day, which they call day one, or initial dose escalation. And then there's multiple doses that go up to a small milligram amount. And now these peanut pills or peanut capsules are, they have peanut in them, and you tear them open or break them open and put them into a vehicle, which is a food product. You mix it in really well, and then you ingest it. So these aren't intended to be eaten or swallowed as capsules whole. When you get to the higher doses, they are little sachets that you break open and then you put into the vehicle or food product. So past day one, then you go to the up doses, in which you do one up dose at a time rather than multiple ones past that first day. The first day probably is going to involve several hours. I'm estimating, probably budgeting at least 4 hours for most individuals. And then there's a protocol that they are going to suggest and recommend, which has been done in the clinical trials. And then past that, the patients will updose every 2 weeks. So the updosing is every 2 weeks. And then it'll take a good 6 months to updose to the final dose, which is 300 milligrams, which is equivalent to about a peanut a day in terms of the protein content. So once they do that, then the patients will maintain at daily dosing of 300 milligrams daily. And so this, of course, will be in the hands of allergists who've been certified. And then thereafter, the definition of the outcomes are daily dosing. And there's nothing else that's required as far as you don't have to challenge your kid at the end of that. There's, you don't have to follow clinical trials necessarily, but, you will go through that process with the updosing as recommended, prescribed by the company in the hands of somebody who is skilled. So the question, I think some of the questions that arise are, how soon will it be? Probably in March sometime, end of March maybe. Who's going to be able to have it? Again, board certified allergists who've been certified through the program, and the patient and the doctor will be able to sign up for this risk evaluation mitigation strategy. Are the patients supposed to continue to avoid peanut? Yeah, you're supposed to continue to avoid peanut just like you would with other food products that you're allergic to. That's still on the books, because this is to decrease the risk of severe reactions, to be able to increase your level of toleration, not to cure your allergy. Okay. And then how long is the process? The buildup is from day one, dose escalation, and then initial dose escalation, then updosing every 2 weeks. And then the updosing takes about 6 months. And then you finally go 300 milligrams daily.